I'm Manuel Hernandez and welcome to Norwich City Central.
Hello everybody, Lewis, Norwich City Central. I hope you're all doing well. Full time at Carrow Road, Norwich City 1, Coventry 1. It was a fair result. Coventry deserved the point. But for Norwich City, 10 games unbeaten. That unbeaten run goes on, which is excellent. The big concern, I think, for Norwich City fans, though, is there's another injury. Norwich City have more first team players out than players available. I think this is the biggest injury crisis Norwich City have possibly faced. It's making last season's injury crisis look like nothing in comparison. Max Aarons with a really bad injury, and the injury crisis worsens for Norwich City. That means Norwich City have no fullbacks available, with Ballymumba, Sam Byram, Max Aarons, and Javi Quintilla out for some time. We have to wait and see how bad Max Aarons' injury is. But for Norwich City, they played well in some parts, particularly in the first half, but Coventry grew into the game and deserved the point. I'll be talking through the game and talking about where possibly it went wrong for Norwich City today. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section, as Coventry, who I think sat 20th, 21st in the table prior to kick-off, get a point from Norwich City. But the good news for Norwich City is they do stay top of the Championship table, which is always nice to see. And defensively they did well today, but yeah, the injury crisis is the real concern, because Norwich City had to play the likes of Stephen up front. They now have no fullbacks available, and it just worsens and worsens and worsens, doesn't it? In terms of the game, though, Norwich City started, of course, without no strikers, and Marcus Stephen was up front. I thought he did a reasonably good job today. Nothing special, but did the best of what he could. And Norwich City started the game off reasonably well, continuing to play our style of football. It's so refreshing now to see Norwich City play our style of football, as opposed to earlier on in the season where we had no real identity. But Coventry also started quite bright as well, trying to play football from the back, but they weren't quite as good as Norwich, and were better when they went long. They had a good chance early on when their number 23 sprung free on the right hand side of the pitch. Did really well, actually. Their number 23 crosses it across to Allen, and Allen heads over the bar. But Norwich City really grew in the game from about the 20th to the 30th minute, and they did eventually get their goal in that period of the game. Had some really nice chances. Josh Martin with a lovely through ball over the top to Marcus Stephen, and Marcus Stephen has really got to score this. I think in hindsight, he probably should have rounded the keeper, but he tries to chip the keeper, but it's a good save from the keeper. And then Norwich City go down the left-hand side of the pitch with Paheta, making some really promising runs. But this time, Oliver Skipped is brilliant, who's probably our man of the match, or certainly one of the candidates. A brilliant ball across the face of the goal. It's Josh Martin, 12 yards out, and unfortunately he side foots it into the path of the goalkeeper, who makes a good save, and Borheta on the rebound is also blocked. But the goal was certainly coming, and then eventually Norwich City did get it. Alex Tettey with a through ball over the top to Borheta, who is doing okay in a Norwich City shirt. I think his pace is causing teams problems, and you can see there's a lot of potential in Borheta. He just needs to add some more goals and assists. But a nice ball over the top through to Borheta, and the goalkeeper fouls him when running out. And that means Mario Rancic has a chance from the spot. Will Mario Rancic score? Of course he does. He's probably our best penalty taker. I love the guy, although he didn't quite have the best game today. But a nice finish from Mario Rancic into the middle of the goal, straight down the middle. The goalkeeper diving to the right. Coventry weren't too threatening. They did have another set piece, which they had a shot from. The ball kind of loops into the air, and it's a nice easy catch from McGovern. Also, we think McGovern drops the ball almost into the path of the Coventry player, but I think he wasn't expecting McGovern to drop it. But fortunately, Norwich City get away with it and clear it out. But half-time, Norwich City were 1-0 up. Coventry were looking good from set pieces. But Norwich City deserved to be 1-0 up. But in the second half, you could really tell the intensity of the games really caught up with them. I mean, Norwich City are going to continue playing 3 games a week up until Christmas. It's absolutely intense, and the injuries aren't going to help with that. And why are there so many injuries? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on that topic. There's lots of muscle injuries, not just for Norwich, but all around the whole leagues, and that's why this 5-sub rule was introduced, because of muscle injuries, because of the intensity of the games. That's a problem, but we've also had some really bad freak long-term injuries. So whether it's the intensity of the training or the muscle injuries, I think it's a combination of the both, which is causing so many frustrations for Norwich. But yeah, Norwich City didn't really have a chance in the second half. That's how poor they were. You could tell they were tired, and didn't really have a chance. Borheta got in behind a couple of times. But yeah, didn't really threaten the keeper, and Coventry grew into the game. And this is where it went wrong for Norwich City. Daniel Farke's substitutions have been brilliant this season. So many times our substitutions have gone on and scored winners. You know, Mario Rancic, Kenny McLean, Timu Pukki against Middlesbrough. So his substitutions and his in-game management, Daniel Farke has been exceptional. But in this game, I think he got it wrong. Coventry, of course, you can make 5 subs now, and Coventry brought all 5 subs on in and around the 70th minute. And Coventry for the last 20 minutes, they're so much more fresh. The Norwich City players looked absolutely knackered, that we couldn't really have any attacks, and it just showed because of the intensity of the games. But for me, Daniel Farke should have trusted the youth there. He had so many youth players in Reece McClare, the young Irish lad, Omotoo. But he didn't really use them. He brought on Zinnerman in the 84th minute and then one of the youth players in the 90th minute. But he has 5 subs available, and I know all the senior players are out. But for me, Norwich City looked absolutely knackered, and I felt like if we brought on a couple of the youth players earlier, that might have changed the complexion of the game, and we might have held on just because the players were knackered. But yeah, Coventry grew into the game, had a couple of good chances. McGovern was forced to make a good save at his near post. Then in the 84th minute, their centre-back, McFadden, I think it was, rises high with a header and it hits the post, and he really should have scored that. But eventually Norwich conceded in the 89th minute, and it came not just at the expense of a goal but an injury to Max Aarons. A long ball in behind. Coventry were growing in energy, looking like more likely to score. They're really growing in energy, and Norwich City were really under the cosh. Max Aarons is caught out in his right back role. Giles puts in across the left back, right across the face of the goal, and as Giles does that, Max Aarons comes in with a sweeping challenge. It's a hideous challenge for Max Aarons as he's trying to stop Giles across the ball, and he doesn't need to do it because as he slides into Giles, Max Aarons it ends up being worse for wear from it, and I think it's his thigh or his ankle just completely really hit, and he looked really bad from that injury. I mean, the physios had to kind of carry him off the pitch. It was a terrible injury for Max Aarons. So Max Aarons can't present the cross. The ball comes into the 6-yard box. The Ben Gibson and the striker kind of collide together, and the ball eventually falls to their other striker a few yards out, who just taps the ball in, and Coventry get the point. And yeah, it was a sucker punch for Norwich because they defended really well in the first half. They were playing some good football, but Coventry did deserve the goal, and not just did Norwich City lose 2 points because of it, they lost Max Aarons, and that was really disappointing. The full-time whistle went, Norwich City won, Coventry won, and Norwich City have scored so many late goals. They've been the king of late goals, but yeah, Coventry ended up getting the equaliser. But the main concern for me isn't the lost point or the lost 2 points, it's the injuries. That is my main concern, and as Norwich City fans it should be, because you can see how much worse we look without Timu Pukki and without so many recognised central attacking midfielders. All these injuries are making Norwich City worse, and an injury to Max Aarons, one of our better players, is certainly going to as well. So that was really disappointing. Emi Buendia will be back for Luton, which is really important. But yeah, the injury crisis grows. No fullbacks available. Norwich City might have to go with a 3 at the back. And yeah, it's getting slightly worrying for Norwich City. But let's hope by the time Luton comes round, we're in a much better position and we can really focus on this. But yeah, full time at Carrow Road, Norwich City 1, Coventry 1. Positives to take. Defensively, we're reasonably well. Oliver Skipp had another good game, and it's 10 games unbeaten. And of course, Norwich City is still top of the league. The bad news is the injury crisis worsens, and as each injury has kind of happened, and as Tim Krul's gone, Pukki's gone, Aarons has gone, you feel this Norwich City team are kind of depleting in quality more and more. And Coventry had the 5 subs today, and that's why they won the game, because they could bring on those subs while Norwich City didn't. So that's full time. Norwich City 1, Coventry 1. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.